was driving him to the airport, and I pulled up in the car. It's just like got stuck in my head somehow. Literally pulled up to his apartment with "Get This Party Started" blasting by Pink. And I was like, Morgan's gay and he's gonna suck a man's penis. Morgan is gay and he loves it. Morgan always plays into it where he's like, he always makes me laugh so much harder.
Morgan is gay and he's gonna suck a penis.
You got to get the man's penis in there, though.
Suck a man's penis.
But
yeah,
dude,
you got to clarify if
he's
it's a
the
man
best
or a woman.
because,
With
yeah, it's
penis.
very important. In today's society, it's important that we let everyone know that it was a man's penis and not a woman's penis. But, dude, he's the best because, like, I basically just, like, our whole friendship, every man has a friend or should have a friend that your whole thing is you just call them gay.
Dude, this guy was like, yo, I was at the gym. He's like, good friend. He's like, do I even have your number or whatever? I'm like, I'm like, yeah, you do. And I texted him, like, I just texted my name. And he goes, good. Now I have someone to send nudes to. And he's like, now I know where to send nudes to. But I realized, like, every bond that a male has with another male is homoerotic. Like, it's fucking, it's just such a go-to. It's like the like alcohol of a party, you know, to like loosen everyone up, to like loosen up like a new friendship is just homoerotic jokes.
I have a naturally hairless ass, and one of my favorite little gags to run on the boys is I will literally like zoom in on my own ass and be like, dude, I normally like don't send pictures of the girls that I hook up with, but I mean, look at this chick's ass. Holy fuck. And then I'll flip it around and be like, you guys are fucking gay.
God damn it.
Dude, well, before we call everyone in the universe gay, our guest today is my good friend, Zack Tellander. What's going on, fella? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy to be here.
Dude, I'm happy to have you here. You've been on an absolute tear lately. Life seems like it's pretty fucking rad for you. You are my favorite powerlifter country musician combo. I love that, dude.
Yeah, it's a wild one, huh? I get like it's the underestimated, like being underestimated is pretty cool, as you know, and
yeah,
for a certain amount of time. Like if you look at like Uncle Laser, he gets on stage with the harmonica, and then everyone's like, here's this comedian gonna be an idiot, and then he just rips. He absolutely rips a harmonica, and it's like it fits the song incredibly well. It sounds incredible, and he crushes, and everyone underestimated him as a musician. And so it like adds to the shock value. I think.
Well, yeah, like if any of my friends that don't really play music were like, hey, man, I'm going to put out like an album this year, I'd be like, okay, I support you. I support you, and I will listen to it. But you sent me the last track, and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like the level up is insane.
We're pumping now, dude. We're pumping. Yeah.
You've got some of the best musicians in Austin as the backup band, right? You've got John Eric, and then who's the guy that plays slide guitar again?
Sam Norris. Yeah, the guy is a freak. What's cool is like he comes into the studio and he just wants to like build like hooks on either the dobro or the slide. And it's like the best person to have in the studio. Like I can give you a super quick example. I was like, hey man, can you play dobro on this song? Which for people listening or watching,
that old dobro.
Dobro's it's like a lap guitar and it has a big resonator in the center, and it's like kind of banjo-ish sounding, but it's not. But literally within seconds, dude, he came in and did this. Like, listen to this shit. That. So that was within 5. He literally sat down and I played the song. I was like, I'd love to have you in this, like wherever. He's like, let me hear it. And then he just goes, boom, bam, 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 bam. And to have a guy come in and like, a song has a hook with the lyrics.
Yeah.
And then within 5 seconds, you also added an instrumental hook. It's like the coolest shit ever. It's like steroids for your song.
Yeah, that's the bomb.
So, and that's a guy that I'm just friends with. It walks around Austin.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's the weirdest part of like being in Austin is I think you like get access to that type of person way more often than you would like anywhere else.
100%. Dude, I just gigged in Vermont where we went to school, UVM, baby.
Yeah.
And John and I were there, and we're so used to just music being everywhere and people's levels and like standards for music just being so high, that we got there and we just kind of like assumed that that's the way it is everywhere else. But we got there and people were like, "Oh my God, like you're from Austin, like music," you know?
Yeah.
Because they don't see it. And dude, someone was telling me this, Laser was telling me this about comedy. You can go to some areas and you're like, you know, you can fill up a room hardcore. But here in Austin, it's like there's literally shit going on every single night.
It's so fucking saturated. Like literally on like last night, just on a Wednesday night at the Creek, the lineup was like literally Tony Hinchcliffe, Cam Patterson, and Dylan Carlino. And you're like, all right, well, like that's just another just
all of those guys
show.
Would slay in Chicago.
Yeah, killers.
So they would slay, and Chicago's no slouch of a city, I would assume.
Well, like
right?
Burlington, dude. I mean, Chicago has a killer comedy scene, but like, dude, going to UVM. One of the things that I didn't really dig about UVM, which is University of Vermont, by the way, is it's this hippie school. And you'd think with like Vermont being such a hippy dippy place, there would be this like huge sort of like music art culture, and it really just like wasn't there at all. Like there were bands, and I played in a couple of them, and it was fun, but there were no like huge underground music shows. There were a couple of them. There were no like you would go to the bar and every bar had a DJ.
You know why? Because it's too cold. Here it's like I swear to God,
you can't haul gear. You cannot haul gear.
Yeah,
like on a dolly.
Yeah, and then also just like this is something that we take for granted in Austin again all the fucking time is that almost every bar has like a yard or a back patio, and you just assume that that's how the world works. Like with a bar outside and a food truck too. So like. You know, for bands, there's, you know, you could do stuff outside, you could do stuff inside. Just also, there's just live bands literally at every
crazy
place. It's actually more rare to have like a DJ.
And starting comedy in Boston, I mean, like, this is another thing that we take for granted. If you want to open a bar in Austin, you just apply for a liquor license, and once you're approved, you have a new bar, right? In Austin, there is a set number of liquor licenses for the city. And that number like goes up a little bit every year, but the number of bars in the city is the number of bars in the city. If you want to open up a new bar in Southie, they're like, we're at capacity. We have as many as we can have.
Yeah.
If you want to open another one needs to fold. So like when that comes to entertainment and like trying to get off the ground as a band or a comic, it's like, well, good fucking luck, dude. Like there's nowhere to do it. Like there's a set number of bars in Southie, and they're all packed to the gills 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
So we really don't have any need for comedy unless you're willing to do the basement on a fucking Wednesday.
Do you know that Milwaukee has like the most bars per square capita or something, or like
really
per square mile?
Dude, I've heard that place is actually underrated as fuck.
It definitely is, but it's literally, I think, by far. I don't know. Can you look this up?
Yeah.
The drunkest city.
Cities with the most bars
and drunk people, dude. Madison. Seven of the drunkest cities in America are all in one state, Wisconsin.
That's crazy.
Look at that. Madison, Eau Claire, Appleton, Green Bay. That is wild, bro.
It's kind of wild that Green Bay has a population of 110 and it's got an NFL team. Is
La Crosse. These are all places I've driven through. La Crosse
is the name of a city in Wisconsin.
Dude. Yeah.
I didn't know that, dude. Bro, imagine meeting a guy where he's like, yeah, dude, I fucking grew up in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I can't do a Wisconsin accent. Can you do it?
It's like up there like this kind of. I don't know. It's like Canadian-ish.
Yeah.
It's super weird.
It's adjacent Canadian.
Dude, okay, another thing, totally random tangent. I was actually thinking about this on the way over. But like, well, this isn't too random, but like, what's the most romantic alcohol can be, and like, what's the least romantic alcohol can be? And then you could do the same thing for Coke, and you could do the same thing for weed. So like, a romantic, like alcohol being romantic is like anytime you hear it in a song, And you're like, yeah, dude, tequila. But like if you actually think about it, like people getting shit-faced on tequila, like had, you know, and like smelly breaths, like big fat
I think the
bellies.
most romantic alcohol can be is like you and your boys like cracking a beer while you're doing something. You know, like you're cracking a beer on a ski lift or at like a baseball game and you're like, let's fucking go, like a chairlift beer.
Yes.
And the least romantic it can be is the true reality of hanging out with one of your blacked out friends when you're sober.
Oh boy.
Like, terrible.
Dude, that
like it's maybe the worst
the
thing in the
smell.
world.
It's the smell for me.
It's also just
people
like,
don't talk about that.
The conversations are just like incoherent.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize this, that like when you have like 4 beers, you and your friends are talking so much more than you normally would.
Yeah.
But when you get to the point where you're all 12 beers deep, it just kind of shuts down and everyone gets on their phones because there's like nothing you can really talk about.
Yeah. You can't hold. And then if you think about, I was actually thinking about Coke, and my like most romantic image is of Billy Strings staying up late on Coke with his guitar.
He's
You know
sober.
I know. But I'm thinking about like back in the day being like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to play this guitar all fucking night and be on Coke. I'm like, that's kind of cool. The music thing, it's super interesting because you just have to have a good song. Like that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And you'd be shocked at how big people's, like how much they gatekeep the music that they take in. Like, hey, can you listen to this song of mine? They're like not gonna do it because it's like that's a big ask. People are like, you know, subconsciously like very attached to their own music.
Yes.
And it makes sense. And
you
like
can get so deep with the playlists that like you just have a playlist that you listen to all the time and you're like, this is what I like.
I sent people a mix of my song, not the mastered version or anything. I was like, check this out. And then like they never got back to me. That's fine. Like I don't, and then it like ends up kind of blowing up slightly and people hear it like, dude, I love this song. This is so good. Like I sent it to you 6 months ago, you know, but it's not, I'm not mad at them. It's people like, dude, they're just not going to, it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's a team sport. It's like a team game. It's like, it's kind of like a podcast or being a comedian or anything. You have to like prove that there's like a lot of viewership and a lot of people watching and caring. And then the people that you kind of like asked for help in the beginning, they're going to be like, okay, this dude knows what he's doing, you know? So it's a give and take. Like, yeah, it sucks. You wish that your people would just support you in like a deeper way. But at the same time, like you do need to prove that you can do it on your own.
Well, there's another thing too, which is like when you have a friend that gets into music, you want them to be good so bad. And it's like you're nervous that it's going to be bad. That someone's going to send you something that you hate. You're like, man, that's not a fun experience.
The same thing happens in comedy, you know?
100%. That like, dude, when you bring your friends out to a show and you fucking bomb, like I've had nights where people come out, they're like, oh, you were great. You think? And you're like,
fuck you. No, I wasn't.
Yeah, and and they're just saying it to be supportive, but it's not. I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at me. You know, especially on nights when you headline and you do a fucking hour. And, you know, for an hour, you were just all right. And they're like, that was pretty good. They were like, you know, they had a couple drinks. They had a good time. But it's like, dude, I could have made you have a great night.
Yeah.
And I know what great is. And it's the same way with music where you're like, dude, I know what, like, oh, that was like, there's a difference between that was surprisingly good and like, oh, that fucking ripped. Like, I'm going to, this is in the country playlist and I'm listening to it regularly now.
There's I think music has to be easier than comedy.
I don't know.
It has to. Playing live music has to be easier than standing with a fucking microphone trying to make people laugh. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. I can make my friends laugh.
I've done both.
No problem.
I've played in bands for years. I think the music is way harder. Just because I've also been out on nights where I see a band that is great, right? And like you picture playing music in your head and you picture like people losing their minds and that feeling of like, yeah, like you listen to the song, you kind of imagine yourself playing it. You're like, people will be fucking going nuts for this. And then you see the reality of what it is sometimes, which is just a lot of crowds are just disinterested. and people are on their phones, people are taking videos, and people are talking, and that would piss me off so much to not just have the vocal power of being like, hey, you're fucking annoying, shut up, and then going after somebody that's like interrupting a show.
Yeah.
Versus like, okay, I was seeing this girl a few weeks ago, and I brought her to a concert, and we went with her and her friend and a couple of my friends, and her friend talked through the entire fucking show.
Talking to each other?
They were talking for the whole show, but not just like kind of talking. They were like scream talking through every fucking song.
Oh, no.
Dude, and it was so annoying. And then they left the concert early. And I was like, all right, you guys are, we're not doing this anymore.
Okay. So I guess there's caveats to this. So there's like places that are like listening rooms. So Saxon Pub here in Austin is what you would consider a listening room. Like people, they shut the fuck up and want to watch.
Yeah.
So and people sit down and they drink. You can have light conversation, but if they'll literally shh you there, like especially if the dude's doing an acoustic set. Like it's a big deal. You know, sit down and watch and enjoy. Right. Mm-hmm. That is a high pressure situation to be good.
Yeah, and
that's a comedy show. That's the equivalent, right? So if dude, fuck yeah,
dude, you're the fucking man. Thank you.
Yes.
Shout out Brandon Lejean.
Now I'm ready to rip. Okay,
yeah,
but I'm on one here, right? So if I play live at a bar, like a whatever, people are drinking, I can mess up. I can not know the lyrics. I can laugh. I can have fun.
Yeah,
and there's no consequences. You see, there's like the difference there. There's no version of comedy that would work with people talking. Like people can't talk in the crowd. They can't like have a night at the bar.
No, you can't.
Because someone's talking and you have to listen to their story. It's a one-sided conversation. So like that's the pressure on you guys all the time. That's what I'm saying.
I was talking to somebody about this. They opened up for some massive band. I can't remember what it was, but they were like a local band, and they opened up for a legit arena act, right? And you play the Moody Center with them.
Yep.
And you play sold out Moody Center. And this is where like I think music is substantially easier than comedy. If I get to open up for Joe Rogan, which I've never done, but if I get to open up for like, I opened up for Ryan Long a few weekends ago, and I'm the host.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. I'm the host. I show up at the club. Everyone is seated, expected to shut the fuck up and pay attention to me on stage. And that is a beautiful thing for me. It is the one job where as an opener or a host, you arguably have an easier job than the headliner, which is crazy. Me and you go to see some person at the Moody Center and they throw up the opener for the opener. You're playing an arena that seats 14,000 people for what, 2,500? 4,000 of people that don't give a fuck. And
you can escape. So like, okay, there's even more caveats to this though.
Yeah.
You're basically saying that if you open at a comedy show, everyone's watching you. Mm-hmm. If you open at the Moody Center, people are drinking, talking, doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. Well, people in some cases they're not even there.
Yeah, yes.
Like
I'm one of them.
Me and you went to Kiss. And we got there for Kiss.
Yeah, and I just went and I regularly do this. Mm-hmm. I will not watch openers at an arena, but at a club or like even like a small theater, there's nowhere to hang, so you still have to sit and watch. So there's still value there, right?
Yeah.
You're talking arenas, the difference between an arena and a theater, but like at a club, you have to be in the area of the music coming at you. So there is that pressure still. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying totally, but still at a club, you cannot show up until the headliner goes on. You can look at it and go, doors at 7:30, first band's at 8, and then you figure, all right,
because it's standing and it's moving. There's action in the crowd. There's no action in a comedy club.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everyone has to be, if you, in the case of a sold out show
starts at 7, you're seated and waiting by 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and in the case that like it's truly sold out, your tickets will get given away if you're not there on time.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
That makes sense.
Like you have to come watch the host, or you're not allowed in. You can't get there for the headliner.
Whoa, that is fucking spooky.
And they also time it out so it's only 90 to 120 minutes for every show. So no one's bored.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes you go to some of these concerts, I mean, it's fucking 4.5 hours. If you got there for the opener, you're like, I'm good, man.
So you do want to show up there late, and that's okay. So that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Is there's action in the crowd. At a concert, you're allowed to move around, which is like huge. At a comedy club, you're not. I mean, you can go to the bathroom and shit and get drinks, but you have to be seated, and you're watching the opener.
Yeah.
That is high pressure.
Huge pressure.
But it's a big deal, though, to be an opener. Like, it's probably a bigger deal to open for a big comic than it is to open for a big band, right?
But you can
convert on that.
Comedy has the option, too, where we're on podcasts and stuff, too. So if you're opening for Mark Norman, you might get a shout out on Protect Our Parks or something, and that's a huge bump up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they're like, check this guy out, he fucking killed last weekend. Like, that's awesome.
Have you ever been to a concert where the opener was fire?
Yeah, plenty.
And you're like, dude, I went to a concert, the opener was better than the band that I wanted to see, and I actually left during the band I wanted to see.
Really? What band? What?
It was Head in the Heart.
Mm-hmm.
We got free tickets. Like, I wouldn't buy tickets to go see Head in the Heart,
Yeah,
but they're pretty cool. Like, they, in a certain way. And Dawes opened for them. You know Dawes?
Dawes is one of the fucking best
bands.
Dude,
and I've known about Dawes for a while, but I'd never seen them live. This was last year.
Oh, dude, Dawes is already a massive band.
At the Moody Theater.
Really?
Yeah. So there's like a foyer and like, the plaza and shit to hang out in the Moody Theater. But like, we got there and we're like, let's go listen to Dawes. And we listened to him. I was like, dude, they were ripping live.
Yeah.
Ripping. I don't think they might be able to fill up that place without the Head and the Heart, but
they're a huge band.
They're huge, but like they can still rip and open. Like they were loud enough too. You know how they like kind of castrate the sound for an opening band because they want the big band to be louder.
No, I didn't know they do that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the thing.
Oh yes, especially in arenas, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, it's like almost 2 times the decibel.
But yeah, we went and saw fucking Roxy Music, which is a legendary 70s band.
Mm-hmm.
And the opener was St. Vincent, which is just one of the greatest like chick guitar players alive right now.
Yeah.
And it was just weird watching someone of that caliber have a better performance than the headliner, and no one in the audience gave a fuck because it's an arena, right? And because they're boomers and they don't care about chick in her 30s playing guitar.
Ripping.
They're just not. She's not on the radar at all.
And then so like because we got these free tickets, Head in the Heart comes on and we're like, nah, let's go. We just left. Gojira. Am I wearing I think I'm wearing a Gojira shirt. Yeah. Wearing a Gojira shirt. You know them?
No.
Metal band from France, but they sing in English. They're in my opinion, I think they're like the best metal band right now. Them, like Lamb of God, the best acts in metal.
Yeah.
And it's like oddly, I don't know. I think it's like it's super heavy, right? And it's like if you're not used to metal, like it's gonna be hard. But like I feel like I could bring most people there, and they'd be like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
Right. So they were doing a kind of dual headliner, but not really.
It was Gojira and who?
And Deftones.
Sick.
Right. I left during Deftones. It was like an easy leave. And people are going to hate me for this because they like love the Deftones. It was not even close. It was not even in the same universe to me. And like, dude, they were at the San Antonio, like AT&T or something, the arena. And my section had me and my buddy and like maybe 2 other people, and it's a section of 200 people. Like it's a 200 person, and we were the only 4 people there, and I was like going nuts when Gojira was on.
Wait, because people just weren't there yet?
They weren't there yet.
Crazy.
Or they were hanging out. Like they want to see Deftones, dude. And then Deftones come out, I'm like, yeah, I don't need to see this. I'm good. Seriously. It's like shoegazy kind of, if you're into that, that's fine. But like Gojira was so good, bro. It was like, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. And their songs are like kind of catchy in a rhythmic way. So, but yeah, dude, I don't. it's interesting because I'm going through this phase in music right now,
Mm-hmm.
and like over the weekend, I got paid the most I ever have at a gig.
Let's go.
Okay, I got the most, like the biggest bump.
That was the Vermont gig?
Yeah, their editor was like editing a video for them for his YouTube channel. The guy's name is Matt Fraser. He's the best CrossFitter like of all time, which is, you know, CrossFit being like kind of a meme. But this was a guy who's like, yeah, I don't care about the Kool-Aid of CrossFit. I don't care about health, fitness, or anything. You're telling me there's a $370,000 grand prize for the winner. I'm going to dedicate my entire fucking life to this thing, and I'm going to smash everyone. He was like, he became a machine, and he became the fucking goat of it. And it's really interesting. Like you can talk as much shit as you want about CrossFit, and he'll be like, cool, that's cool.
What do you think about like the whole CrossFit High Rocks thing? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the like clashing of the two.
Just like, what do you think about them just as sports?
Well, hold on. Let me finish
right,
this because I had like a really great weekend. And anyways, on his YouTube channel, I'm like, hey, all my songs are copyright free, so you can use them for your edits. And they're like, oh, dude, hell yeah. They used my music for their edits. So he posted about me. I got this money. I got on their YouTube channel.
Sick.
I posted 2 videos with my music on my YouTube channel. I had a massive bump in streams, and I lost 600 followers on Instagram in the same weekend.
Why is that?
Because people, they don't want to see me do what they didn't, you know, follow
what
me
you're
to
actually
do.
trying to do.
It's
I
like,
think that's a good thing when that happens.
yeah.
Honestly. Like I think you want that, and that like there's this whole thing right now which is like, you know, just like specialize and do what you're trying to do.
Find your algorithm,
And-
find your niche, stick with your niche,
bro. And there's you know, a company I was working with where everything we were doing, they were just like, all right, what video can we make to go viral today? We need you to go out and make like 10 videos that just like hop on these trends, and that's what we need from you. And I'm like, man, if we just, and I was trying to make this like niche music content, right? Or I was like asking bands about like, you know, asking bass players about their favorite bass players and asking people about like, you know, their music influences. And it's not viral content, but it hits musicians, right? And it hits them hard, and it hits people who love music really hard. And I think it's better to like attack something and get people that are actually really interested in it that'll come back versus like cranking out some viral video that nobody gives a fuck about, but they watch the whole thing.
right?
You know?
Well, zoom out a little bit. Like humans in general, like are broad. Like they have other interests. They get really good at things, and actually, we're often told to like push the limitations and optimize towards the thing that we like and that we're gonna do, so we can do as good as we can. And people generally, they just want to see the best.
Yes.
They want to see the best. And so if the moment, and what's weird is like these algorithms make that easy. Oh, you want to see the best in comedy? I'll make your algorithm the just only comedy stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so your favorite comedian decides to start making music, and you're like, okay, well, that's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because I'm a consumer, dude. I'm not here to see, you know, they might care about you, but you know, they could get aggravated by it or whatever, and they're like, screw this, I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit, especially if that person's good. Like, dude, you know, like for me, I don't even care as much about talent or the best. I just care about people going on this journey to like explore something. I just saw a video on YouTube the other day, and Joe Rogan did a guest announcer spot for professional pool, and it was fucking electric. It was electric. Well, the match was electric. It's in itself. They like there was like
pull that up, Jamie.
yeah, there was like miscues. You know, miscue, like you hit the cue ball.
I really want to see this.
Give me a second. The YouTube on here runs so slow, so I'll have it in like 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, so but
Freaking the
basically,
KFS spectrum.
it's very rare to have a miscue, right, for a pro. It's pretty much if you miss as a pro, the other dude's gonna win.
What's a miss?
Like if you don't pocket the ball that you're calling, or you have a you scratch or something, the other guy is just gonna run the table and finish the set. He's gonna win. And there was like 3 miscues. And he was like, "This is crazy," and like he was announcing it, and he knew all of these old players. Why? Because he was obsessed with pool.
Yeah, 100%.
And what I'm realizing, dude, is like I am like fucked up obsessed with music.
Great,
like in a way where it's like it's literally all I care about, or not literally all I care. That's ridiculous. It is the biggest thing that I care about by far. Mm-hmm. And I know that's going to die out a little bit. I understand, especially if I become more successful.
Doesn't have to, man.
But dude, like you probably, because you've sold out a room, right? Mm-hmm. I've never done that. How many times have you played in front of 100 people? Done a comedy show in front of 100 or more?
Hundreds at this point.
Okay, right. Yeah. So there's no way that you're as obsessed as you were 5 years ago with comedy. Like
I think I am, honestly. Well, I really do. Because when I started out thinking like, okay, maybe I can do this. Don't even worry if it's just fucking.
I guess my point is
my point is this though. If you think the early on obsession is one thing, but I'm at a point right now where I'm doing good, right? And when you're bad at something, the obsession tapers off, because there's so many like early stages of stand up where you're like bombing all the time, or you have new material that's not working. I'm at a phase right now where I just wrote like a new 10 minutes and it's doing better than the 10 minutes I wrote before that. I'm all in right now. Here's
where we can connect on this though. It's like the visualization of progress. You can see progress.
Yeah.
Do you know how fucking exciting that is?
It's crazy.
In everything. So I did Olympic weightlifting, not powerlifting, whatever. It's neither here nor there. But in Olympic weightlifting, I have a really bad build for it. Like these dudes are generally shorter. They've got
6'6",
6'4", and they're generally shorter, and they have always been like strong dudes in the gym, and I've never been that. But I was able to kind of dial in my technique enough to where I could improve. And I saw that improvement, and I saw the future where I could take baby steps to improve, and I became obsessed. The same thing happened to me in music. I've been playing music my whole life. Like I've been playing I'm a drummer, that's what I've done. And I started writing songs a few years ago, and I showed my closest friends, and they're like, "These are really great. Go record these." And I was like, okay, if 2 people that I really admire, they're like telling me this, they're looking me in the eye, they're like, "I like this. Can I get 2 more? Can I get 2 more? 2 more? 2 more? Can I get 5 more?" I'm not thinking along the lines of, can I fucking make it in music? And also, it's not a struggle to get my friends to like it. So that, like, if it was like I'm shitty at music and I got to get better, like I'm not getting anything, then yeah, maybe my obsession would taper off, like you were saying. But I guess what I'm at right now is like I can see these increments, and so I'm obsessed. And I think if you start to become really big, those increments are still there, and you still search for them, but it's less, and there's nothing wrong with this. You're just not as obsessed, but it is who you are. And there's, again, these 2 things can exist side by side. But I think it's super exciting to capture that.
Well, just the excitement of something.
Yes, Joe Rogan being excited to sit down and announce. Dude, that's, to me, like, I don't care what you're doing. I literally don't care. But if you're fucking stoking on it and you're getting better, dude,
that's what makes him interesting to me, is in terms of like time spent doing something, he is in the top 1% of stand-up comedy, jiu-jitsu, podcasting, pool, and conspiracy theories. So he's like literally in the top 5. Like in the top 0.1% of time spent doing something. So he's a true 10,000 hour expert in 5 different fields. And the amount of people that's the case for is so slim, right? Like there's like that whole master of none saying, right? And there was a phrase in Chinese when I used to study Chinese.
Come on, rip some Chinese for me, dude.
Yi Wu Suo Cheng, right? And it means it basically means skilled at a lot of things, expert at nothing.
Right.
And I think that's fucking awesome, right? Which is like, dude, if you can get to that point where you're like, all right, I don't quite have what it takes to be a pro pool player, but I love it and I'm into it. And I'm like, maybe I'm not as fucking talented as writing songs as Zach Bryan, but I love it and I'm good at it. And I'm like, you know, I'm not as good at stand-up as Shane Gillis, but I love it and I'm into it. And you combine those. Yeah. That's where like the real interest comes in.
Yeah, but that you see though that conflicts with algorithms. It does not allow you,
and it doesn't.
And hold on.
You have to fight the algorithm.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not saying that the algorithm is right.
Oh, I know.
I'm saying you're right.
Yeah.
And that literally everything in your phone, on your YouTube, like there's so much pressure on people to like I for some reason I had pressure on Instagram to like reach a certain view count on Reels and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just curating shit that I know is going to bang, and I could do that over and over again. But it just, you know, as corny as it sounds, it's not fulfilling. It's not what I care about entirely. Like, and I'm good at it. And I still have this love for weightlifting. And when I say weightlifting, it's Olympic weightlifting. It's like bowling, you know, it's very technical. Mm-hmm. It's not just because it's in the gym. It has nothing to do with bodybuilding. It has nothing to do really with powerlifting. It's a very high skilled, very pointed way of lifting that's for the Olympics.
Yeah.
And it's a sport that people take very seriously. And what I was able to do was just like kind of make some tutorials, talk about my journey coaching other people, which is something I started to do. And I did that for a decade. And I think like I'm definitely a black belt at teaching people how to weightlift or Olympic weightlift.
Yeah. I mean, that was awesome. The day me, you, and Shay went in there.
And I went on Instagram. I started pushing that. And now it's like, well, I have this big audience. I want to show them what I'm doing. I want to show them my music and not bother them too much, but I still did. And like I said, you know, I lost followers because of it. And I'm not mad at all. Like, in fact, I'm not happy about it, but it's a weird thing. It's like, you know, you're not being forced, but there's definitely pressure to be this person, this thing, whatever.
Yeah, so like my favorite golf creator right now, this dude, Golf Sidekick, he makes these kind of like he's a scratch golfer, but he's by no means like a pro, right?
Yeah, but those guys are so fun to watch still, dude.
So fun to watch. And he does these like instructionals where he's like basically how to break 90 if you're not a great golfer. And I'll watch these things all the time. I love them. And I was thinking like, all right, if he decided he was going to make music, right? It would annoy me if he didn't give a fuck. If he came in and he hadn't trained and just like learned to pick up the guitar 6 months ago, started posting crappy songs, that would bother me.
Yeah.
But if he had been playing forever and he had a backing band of 4 of the best musicians in Austin, not just posted the music, I would want to see him document the whole song creation process. I want to see you in the studio, man.
Yeah.
Like I want to see you with these guys where you're showing me.
That's such a good point, dude.
Dude, you're showing me the guy with that plays the lap band guitar, which I've met him 15 times and I'm forgetting his name again. Sam. Yeah. Love Sam. Sorry, dude, if you see this. I want to see Sam. I want to see you and John Eric working out the process. I want to see like the Let It Be Beatles style documentary of you guys working through this whole thing because they like you. And it's not necessarily a matter of like, okay, we love powerlifting content. There are people who are much stronger than you, dude. Much stronger. That doesn't matter. It's cool that you can yank 650 right off the ground on a straight bar. That's fucking sick. Your boy did 5 sets of 5 at 275 and fucked his back up last week. but dude, they want to see this creation process. So they want to see like if you, to your point about Rogan playing pool, people don't turn off JRE episodes when he starts talking about playing pool. For anyone else on earth, if they started talking about pool, you would turn it off. But he's so knowledgeable about it and so passionate about it that it's actually interesting.
Yes.
If you can hit that point where on your YouTube channel you're going through that, I think it's smooth sailing. I really do.
Yeah. 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 It's dude. Everything is fucking gravy. I just like talk. This is the type of person I am. I think it's this type of person you are. It's therapeutic to talk about what's happening, and I can separate what's happening from like complaining. Mm-hmm. You know, if I bitch and moan about something, I at least try to see the other side of how things work. You know, dude, this is crazy. Sometimes I hear someone say something and I go, holy shit, I've never heard it framed like that. And like that definitely changed my perspective. I think it's rarer as the days go on because you kind of hear the same stories but told in a different way, or same like moral truths are realized but in different ways of saying them. But this one was something that like I had never thought of. And it was some dude on TikTok, and he was like, I have a theory or a thesis as to why we're seeing more anxious and depressed kids than ever.
Yeah.
And I think the simple answer is like, oh, well, you know, they're always on social media and all this shit. It's not the social media. It's how people are allowed to act and how they're almost expected to act on social media that determines how they act in real life and how they respond in real life. And what he said specifically is like, let's say Joe Begley puts up a clip on a podcast, and it's a 60-second clip, and it gets people's attention, and it allows for debate in the comments section. That's what, you know, pushes the algorithm to bounce it around.
Yeah.
People might see something in the background. They might see something that you're wearing. They might disagree with one thing that you said in that clip, and now they have to comment something snarky, something contrarian, and something timely. That's the three big ones that I've found that like lead your comment to be the top comment. And they have now put you in a box. Joe Begley is this person. Yeah. He fucked up. I don't like this guy. Fuck this guy. He said this thing that I don't like. That's Joe Begley. That's who he is. So now these kids, this is how they act en masse, bro. This is how like all of them act. Now they step outside. Yeah, now they step outside into the real world and they think, I'm going to get thrown into the guillotine because this is how I think about the world that I see more than the real world. I'm on my phone more than I'm in the real world. And so I think that if I fuck up, I'm going to get thrown in the guillotine. And so I better stay in my lane. I better not take any risks. I better not do anything that's going to put myself out there that people might disagree with or whatever, or come back at me, or I'll be thrown in the guillotine. Do you know how much anxiety that's going to drive, how much depression that's going to drive into these kids who otherwise would have never fucking had this? Because what kind of public forum was there before social media where you could just criticize someone instantaneously? And mind you, the comment section is right under the video. It's like the video's important, and then the comment section's almost becoming more important. Yeah. Right? Because you could have a comment with like 50,000 likes. Well, that means 50,000 people were like, yeah. 50,000 fucking people, you know? There's a lot of power in being a commenter. And so, dude, think about it. We never had to deal with that.
Well, somebody
but
pointed
a 16-year-old having to deal with, like, I can't.
It's insane. And somebody pointed out to me, or I heard somewhere that the real turning point for social media, where it actually like gained power over us, wasn't the moment it got introduced. It was the moment where Facebook and Instagram introduced threaded comments. So before you could just write a comment about a video and be like, I liked this, or I thought this video was stupid. The second they allowed you to reply to a comment in that thread and get into heated debates about a comment, that was the moment it became toxic.
I would go earlier and say that Facebook used to not be a place where you shared information. Facebook was like legit an amazing place for people on the internet at first. And then it kind of, there was the issue of wanting to project a life. There's two actually. The initial issue that we had in social media is nothing compared to what we have now. The initial issue is like, oh, everyone's faking it. They're projecting the good life when they're not having it. And that makes people depressed because they're not having that good of a life.
True, but yeah.
It's still true for sure. But that's nothing compared to the shit we're dealing with now. That's a different vein. That was the big issue at first.
And I think if anything, people have pulled back on that to an extent.
Of course, yeah.
Where like I really, because of the virality algorithm,
right,
I see less and less of my friends. And in a way, it kind of reduces the FOMO on a social level. But
But but Facebook was, hey, upload a few pictures, make sure you tag me, and like that was the weekend that we had. And it was like, private, you could message at this point, maybe even earlier than before you could message on Facebook. It was just a wall and pictures and a status update, a wall picture status update. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, you can share links. I remember this being like, you can share links of stuff. Like what? And then all of a sudden it's like, now it's sharing videos, but also it's just information. So, CNN has a Facebook, and if you follow CNN, you just get updated with information from CNN. There's no social aspect to it at all. And when you open up your Instagram, it's not really, it's social. You get to check in on your friends, but dude, that's the least of my worries is like, oh, did you see this picture of this person? Like,
yeah,
that's not even close to the crazy debates that happen on a puberty or puberty post or whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
Like, but that sharing of information used to not exist on social media.
You ever catch yourself thinking about this, which is like, I think a great example of this is Joe Rogan again, is when Rogan went to Spotify, and the comment section went away for these podcasts. It kind of felt like lost your brain on them, right? Like you kind of lost your ability to think about a podcast. Because when you can't comment on it and you can't, I realized how fucking stupid I had become because I was like, hey, this guest is kind of crazy. Let's go in the comments and see if everyone agrees. And now I can't look there anymore. And so it's gone. And like, then I realized, oh my God, I've become a fucking monkey brain idiot.
So dude, Chris talks about this shit all the time. What do the people say about the thing? So we're always trying to take a next level approach. It's like, here's a 15-minute video of an hour-long podcast.
Yeah.
You're like, that's still not good enough. Like, I need to see a 90-second clip.
Yeah.
Right?
Still, or a 2-sentence synopsis in the comments.
Yeah. Still, that's not good enough. I need to see what people are saying. So I don't even want to watch the clip to determine what I should determine about the whole podcast or the guest. I need to see what everyone else is saying.
Yeah.
Like, what's the step before that? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, we are taking we want a shortcut to our decision, because it's like very human to be like, I need to make a decision on this thing.
Well, have you ever, like, back when Pitchfork was a thing,
yes,
right? Back when Pitchfork was the big music thing, you would listen to an album and you would go, I thought it kind of stunk. And then you would look on Pitchfork and it would be like 9.5.
Right, exactly.
Perfect example of this is Tame Impala Currents. I just didn't get it the first time I listened to it, which is crazy because now that I've listened to it,
it's pretty iconic. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But because they gave it a 9.5, you would go back and you'd be like, all right, what am I missing? And then eventually you get it. Whereas if they were like 7.7, you would have just been like, I'm kind of right. Let's move on. But when you listen to an interview or you watch a clip and somebody's like, oh, this guy's a fucking pussy and he sucks, and you go, oh yeah, it'll override what your thoughts were. Your own opinion on whatever it is get overridden by the comments.
The next step to that is actualizing it and realizing it, and then fighting for that original thought that you had. Your gut feeling about currents. Like, if you can be like, currents is good, but I had issues with this. You know what I mean? Like, initially I didn't like this, which I wish they did differently. And now you have this kind of middle ground that can move up and down.
You have an original thought.
Yes.
Which is so hard to come by right now.
Very, very hard to come by.
It's almost mass hypnosis about something.
And yeah, again, like
watching the internet turn on Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura, it's mass hypnosis.
Yes. Yeah, and now I'm starting to kind of like turn on the people turning on them, because I'm like, everyone's just following suit and just, listening to the masses.
Everyone's like, oh, they're doing this. This will get them back in their our good graces. And what do you mean our? Like, you guys, the collective. Like, do you fucking hear yourself? Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's like me going to war with the Red Bar people sticking up for Uncle Laser. and then all of a sudden I just have a million mean comments on my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
It's insane. You guys are being hypnotized by a failed open mic comedian. Shut the fuck up. Losers. You can't even come close to doing what Laser's doing.
Yeah, no.
Fuck off and suck our dicks.
Yeah.
All right, we out of time? Is that what's up?
Yeah, we gotta wrap up here. We're at over 50 minutes though.
Sweet. All right. Thank you so much for doing this.
Dude,
I fucking love you. You want to go to Cosmic?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's go. Yeah. Hey, by the way, quick plug before we get out of here. Tellander, plug what you got to do.
Spotify, Tellander, Tellander. Mm-hmm. Got a new single out called Loose Ends.
You got to listen to Loose Ends. It's
nice
fucking awesome. At some point, we will have Tellander is the musical guest on Hidalgo. But this week, you can catch our boy Brandon Lejean on there and the band Shaker Hymns. So it's going to be fucking awesome. Come through. See ya.